May 2nd, 1982, South Atlantic Ocean, 35 miles outside the exclusion zone. Commander Christopher Refford Brown looks through the periscope of HMS Conqueror. Through the lens, he sees an Argentine cruiser, the General Belgrano, 11,000 tons, 1,138 crew members aboard, sailing away from the British task force, not toward it. His orders are clear: engage any Argentine warship that poses a threat, but this ship is sailing away. His weapons officer asks, "Sir?" Refford Brown doesn't lower the periscope, doesn't blink. He knows what happens next. He knows what that word means. 368 sailors will die. Argentina will lose its only cruiser. The war will escalate, and he will carry it for the rest of his life. But there's no time for philosophy, no time for doubt. He says one word: engage, and everything ... changes. In the military, most orders are multi-step. Prepare to launch, verify target, arm weapons, fire on my command. But there's one word that shortcuts everything. One word that means analysis is over. Doubt is gone. We're committed. Engage. It's not just permission to fire. It's the acceptance of consequence. Because when a captain says engage, they're not just authorizing an attack. They're authorizing everything that follows. The casualties, the investigations, the historical judgment, all of it compressed into 7 letters. At the Naval War College, there's a course called Command Decision Under Uncertainty. They put officers in scenarios with incomplete information, time pressure, and lives at stake. And they ask, when do you engage? Too early, you might kill civilians, start a war, violate international law. Too late, your ship gets hit, your sailors die, you lose the battle. And in that impossible middle ground is where command lives, where analysis meets intuition, where doctrine meets judgment, where one word ... determines everything. This is the story of 3 captains, 3 moments when someone said, engage, and how that single word changed history. April 1982, Argentina invades the Falkland Islands. Britain responds by sending a naval task force, carriers, destroyers, submarines. It's the largest British naval operation since World War II, and the mission is clear: retake the islands, defeat the Argentine Navy. HMS Conqueror, a nuclear attack submarine, is part of the vanguard. Its captain, Commander Christopher Refford Brown, 40 years old, career submariner, calm under pressure. His orders: patrol the exclusion zone. Engage any Argentine military vessel that poses a threat to the task force. Simple, direct, except nothing about this is simple. May 1st, 1982, the Conqueror detects the General Belgrano, Argentina's only cruiser, built in 1938. Served in the US Navy as USS Phoenix. Survived Pearl Harbor. Now, Argentine flagship, armed with 15 6-inch guns, escorted by 2 destroyers. The Conqueror shadows it for 30 hours, tracking, watching, waiting. But there's a problem. The Belgrano is outside the exclusion zone, sailing away from British forces, under strict interpretation of the rules of engagement ... It's not a legal target. Refford Brown radios Fleet Command: have contact. General Belgrano, bearing 310 speed, 10 knots. Course, southwest. Outside exclusion zone. Request authorization to engage. And then, he waits. Because this isn't his decision alone. The message travels 8,000 miles. From submarine ... to satellite ... to Fleet Command. to the Ministry of Defense, to 10 Downing Street. Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher convenes the War Cabinet. The question, do we authorize the attack? The arguments for, the Belgrano is a legitimate military target. It could turn around and threaten the task force. Eliminating Argentina's capital ships would shorten the war. The arguments against, it's outside the exclusion zone. It's sailing away, not attacking. Sinking it could kill hundreds and escalate the conflict. Thatcher listens, considers, decides. If it poses a threat to our forces, sink it. The authorization travels back. Satellite, Fleet Command, submarine. 8 hours after Reeford Brown requested permission, the order arrives. Engage. May 2nd, 1982, 4 p.m. The Conqueror closes to attack range, 1,400 yards. Reeford Brown returns to the Periscope. One last look. The Belgrano is still there, still sailing away, unaware. He knows what happens next. To mark 8 torpedoes, each carrying 750 pounds of explosive. Even if the ship doesn't sink immediately, casualties will be catastrophic. His weapons officer reports. Tubes 1 and 2 loaded. Targeting solution confirmed. Standing by. Reeford Brown takes a breath and says the word, engage. The weapons officer repeats, engage, aye. He opens the firing circuit and calls out, fire 1, fire 2, whoosh, whoosh. 2 torpedoes leave the submarine, speed 40 knots. Time to target, 57 seconds. And in the Conqueror's control room, silence. Everyone listening on sonar, watching the stopwatch, waiting, and then, boom, boom. Both torpedoes hit. The first torpedo strikes the bow, tears through crew compartments, kills dozens instantly. The second hits amidships, destroys the engine room, severs power. The Belgrano begins listing immediately. The captain orders, abandon ship. But the ship is sinking fast. It's cold. The water is freezing. Of the 1,138 crew members aboard, 323 make it to life rafts. 368 die, most from hypothermia. It's the largest loss of life in the Falklands War. And it happens in 20 minutes. Because a captain said one word. The controversy is immediate. Argentina claims the Belgrano was sailing away, not attacking. Peace activists call it murder. International observers question the legality, and Commander Reeford Brown returns to base, writes his report, attends the debriefing. When asked if he had doubts, he said, I had orders, I had a target, I executed, that's command. But years later, in a rare interview, he admitted, I think about those men every day. I gave the order that ended their lives. That's not something you forget. That's not something you should forget. But I'd do it again. Because that's what command means. You make the call and you live with it. One word, 368 lives. And a captain who will carry it forever. August 19th, 1981, Gulf of Sidra, Mediterranean Sea. Libya's dictator, Muammar Gaddafi, has declared the entire Gulf of Sidra as Libyan territorial waters. The US Navy says, no, under international law, it's international waters. So the USS Nimitz carrier battle group conducts freedom of navigation exercises, basically sailing through the Gulf to prove it's legal. Libya responds by scrambling fighter jets. August 19th, 1981, Gulf of Sidra, Mediterranean Sea. Libya's dictator, Muammar Gaddafi, has declared the entire Gulf of Sidra as Libyan territorial waters. The US Navy says, no, Under international law, it's international waters. So the USS Nimitz carrier battle group conducts freedom of navigation exercises, basically sailing through the Gulf to prove it's legal. Libya responds by scrambling fighter jets, and at 7:15 a.m., 2 Libyan Su-22 fighters intercept 2 US F-14 Tomcats. The American pilots Commander Henry Hank Kleeman and Lieutenant Lawrence Music Machinsky are on routine patrol. They're not looking for a fight, but they're about to get one. The Libyan fighters approach aggressively. Kleeman radios, Nimitz. This is Fast Eagle 102. We have 2 bogies, closing fast. Requesting instructions. The carrier air wing commander, sitting in the Combat Information Center, reviews the rules of engagement. Clear. You are authorized to defend yourself if fired upon, but the Libyans haven't fired yet. They're just ... close, aggressive, provocative. The CAG radios back. Fast Eagle 102, maintain course. Do not engage unless hostile action is observed. Kleeman replies, Roger, holding formation. And then, one of the Libyan jets fires. A heat-seeking missile, headed straight for Machinsky's F-14. Machinsky sees the launch, calls out, missile in the air, braking right. He dumps flares, banks hard. The missile tracks the flares, misses, and now everything's changed. Because the rules of engagement just went from observe to survive. Kleeman doesn't wait for permission. The moment that Libyan missile launched, the decision was made. He calls out, Fast Eagle 107, engage, engage. Machinsky is already moving. He reverses his turn, gets on the Libyan's 6, locks tone, and fires an AIM-9 Sidewinder. The missile tracks perfectly, hits the Libyan Su-22 in the engine. Boom, the plane disintegrates. The pilot ejects, but the second Libyan is still in the fight. Kleeman maneuvers behind him, locks, fires. Another Sidewinder, another direct hit. Boom, second Libyan down. Pilot ejects. Total engagement time, 60 seconds. 2 American fighters, 2 Libyan fighters. Final score, US 2, Libya 0. And it all started with one word. Kleeman and Machinsky return to the Nimitz. They land, debrief, watch the gun camera footage, and the question everyone asks is, did you have to shoot? Kleeman's answer, they fired first. The moment that missile launched, the row was clear. Engage, defend yourself. We did, but here's the thing. Kleeman didn't wait for authorization from the carrier. He didn't radio for permission. The moment Machinsky called missile in the air, Kleeman made the call. Engage. One word. His decision. His authority. Because that's what tactical command means. In the seconds between life and death, there's no time to ask. You make the call, and you live with it. The Reagan administration supported the pilots. Clear case of self-defense, justified under international law. Libya claimed it was an act of aggression, American imperialism, but the precedent was set. If you fire on US military aircraft, they will fire back, and they will not miss. All because a pilot said one word, and meant it. 2023, Red Sea, USS Carney, a destroyer equipped with Aegis combat system. Crew of 380, on patrol protecting commercial shipping from Houthi attacks. The captain, name withheld under Navy policy, is in the Combat Information Center. It's 3:47 a.m. The Aegis system detects an inbound contact. Speed, Mach 0.9, altitude 5,000 feet. Course, direct intercept. The tactical action officer calls out. Inbound threat. Probable drone. Time to CPA. 90 seconds. CPA. Closest point of approach. In 90 seconds, this object will be close enough to hit the ship. The captain asks, IFF. The operator responds, negative. No transponder. No response to challenges. So it's not friendly. But is it hostile? This is the modern road dilemma. The object could be a healthy attack drone hostile, a malfunctioning commercial drone innocent, a reconnaissance drone not immediately threatening, a decoy designed to waste expensive interceptor missiles. The captain has 90 seconds to decide. If he engages and it's hostile, he saves the ship. If he engages and it's not, he wastes a $1 million interceptor missile on a $500 drone and potentially violates row. If he doesn't engage and it's hostile, 380 sailors could die. If he doesn't engage and it's not, he made the right call. 2 options. For outcomes, 90 seconds. This is command. At 60 seconds, the TAO reports. Object now classified as probable UAB. Trajectory unchanged. Recommend engage. The captain doesn't respond immediately. He's running the calculus. Commercial drones don't fly at 3 a.m. in active combat zones. The trajectory is direct intercept, not passing. Houthis have attacked multiple ships with drones. The risk to his crew, if he's wrong, is unacceptable. At 45 seconds, the weapons officer asks, Sir, authorization. The captain knows the moment he says it. There's no going back. $1 million missile will launch. Intelligence agencies will review the decision. His career could be questioned if he's wrong, but his crew could be dead if he's wrong the other way. At 30 seconds, he makes the call. 1 word, engage. The dial repeats, engage, I. Batteries released. WHOOSH. An SM-2 missile launches. Time to intercept, 12 seconds. Everyone in the CIC watches the screen. And then, impact. The threat disappears from radar. The dial reports. Splash, 1. Threat neutralized. The captain nods. No celebration, no relief. Just log it. Resume patrol, because that's command. You make the call. You execute. You move forward. Later, analysis confirms. It was a Houthi attack drone, armed with explosives, on a collision course. If the captain had waited even 15 more seconds, it might have been too close to intercept. He made the right call, but here's the thing. He didn't know it was the right call when he made it. He had incomplete information, limited time, enormous stakes, and he said, engage, because that's what captains do. They decide, when no one else can. The Navy studies command decisions obsessively. They review every engagement, every authorization, every moment when someone said engage, and they've found something fascinating. The best commanders aren't the ones who never make mistakes. They're the ones who can decide under uncertainty, who can say engage when the information is incomplete, when the stakes are life and death, when there's no time to ask for permission. That's what separates a good officer from a great commander, but it comes with a cost. Studies show that commanders who make life or death decisions experience higher rates of PTSD, persistent moral injury, career-long second-guessing, because every time you say engage, you own the outcome. If you're right, you saved lives, protected your crew, executed your mission. If you're wrong, people die, careers end, history judges, and you carry it, forever. Commander Refford Brown, who sank the Belgrano. I made the right decision with the information I had, but that doesn't make it easier. I still see that ship. I still count those sailors. That's the price of command. Commander Kleeman, who shot down the Libyan fighters. In the moment, there's no doubt. You act, you execute, but afterward, you replay it 1,000 times. Did I have to shoot? Could I have done something different? And the answer is always, yes, I had to. But that doesn't stop the questions. Anonymous destroyer captain who engaged the drone. Asterisk Vori engagement is a gamble. You're betting lives, yours, theirs, civilians on your judgment. And you're making that bet in seconds. That's not training. That's not doctrine. That's just ... command. There's a phrase in naval tradition, the captain is always alone. It doesn't mean physically. It means that in the moment of decision, no one else can help you. Your crew looks to you. Your superiors are too far away. The enemy doesn't wait. And the clock ... is always running. So you make the call. You say the word, engage, and everything changes. The word itself is simple. 7 letters, 2 syllables. But the weight behind it, the weight of the lives you're about to take, the lives you're trying to save, the consequences you can't predict, the judgment that will follow. All of that ... compressed into one word. And the captain who says it, they know that word will echo for the rest of their lives. In the quiet moments, the sleepless nights, the ceremonies for the fallen, they'll hear it again, engage. Right now, at this moment, there are captains on bridges and in CICs around the world. Persian Gulf, South China Sea, Mediterranean, Red Sea, and they're all waiting for the moment when analysis ends, when doctrine provides no answer, when the only thing left ... is judgment. And they'll say the word, not because they want to, but because that's what command means. Making the call when no one else can. Living with the outcome when everyone else has moved on. Carrying the weight alone. The captain said one word, engage, and everything changed. Not just the battle, not just the lives lost or saved, but the captain forever. Because that word doesn't just authorize an attack, it accepts a burden. The burden of consequence, the burden of command, the burden of being the one who decides. One word, everything changed, and the captain carries it still.